We're back in my garden, in my front yard, and you can see all the daffodils are in bloom. And they just look so beautiful, and they actually came out when it was cold and rainy, so nothing can keep them from blooming. Also in this garden you can see a peony coming up, and I was at a meeting just recently where they were talking about how difficult it is to transplant a peony, but this came kind of in the middle of the summer and I just stuck it in and kind of babied it and it made it. This is Fuga that's coming up, and I did a little reading on this plant. This one is called White Pearl, and what I read is that it exudes an insecticide. So I guess it's a good plant to have in your garden. And it also has health benefits, and supposedly one of the really good health benefits is that it helps women who have hot flashes, and I should have known it a long time ago. But anyway, it's a lovely plant. It gets quite tall with a long white fern, or a kind of a, what would I call it? I don't know. Plume. That's the word I'm looking for, is a plume. And it's not supposed to be invasive, but what I did read is it has a tendency to naturalize if it likes the spot it's in. This very clearly likes the spot it's in because it's spreading all through this garden. So it'll be hard for me to keep under control there, but I'll just pull it and dig it and give it away because it's a very nice plant. They're really starting to pop up all over in my garden. I planted them everywhere, so you find them everywhere. This is a miniature cranberry bush, and it will not get a lot bigger than that. You can see there's lots of plants coming up. Some I planted, some that have been given to me by the birds. Creeping thyme is just starting to bloom. In a little bit, this will be covered in a beautiful raspberry color all through this area. The lilies here are coming up much more than when we saw them last time. And unfortunately, I did spray it with an anti-rabbit spray. I sprayed all of these along here, but I must have missed one because there's one that the rabbit got. This is the magnolia that we've looked at before, and this is probably the longest that it stayed with the petals on the tree or the bush. And that's because we haven't had a terrible wind to blow them all off. But this is kind of the end of their beauty, and then the leaves will start to come out. The little dwarf bleeding hearts are beginning to get flowers, and you can see how big it will get. Not very big, but a nice little round circle. Also in here, the hosta are really beginning to come up everywhere. I put compost in here fairly recently around a lot of this, so hopefully it's going to really make things grow much better. Obviously I have not gotten to yet, and I'll get out of the way of the sun here. The astilbe are making their way through all of the leaves, but there's coral bells in there too, and they would like to be uncovered. I think this will be one of the projects I take on today. In this raised garden that I have, you can see my dear friend Ruth gave me some Virginia bluebells, and I keep hoping every year that they're going to start to really spread and fill up this space, but whether they do or not, I appreciate the ones that I have. Which are pretty much along this walkway all the way, are starting to pop out of the ground, and they will be beautiful. They do spread. I like it. I like them, so I usually leave them wherever they end up coming. And if you look right back in here, you'll see a bleeding heart that decided to come on its own as a gift. And again, I usually let those things just grow. Here's all the blooms on the primrose now, and of course more bleeding heart coming up, and lots of flowers on the bleeding heart back here. A bunch of Solomon seal are starting to poke their heads up through the ground. They look really interesting at this time of the year. Picture of the hellebore that has more blooms on it than I've ever seen at any time prior to this season. Robert and I are just going to sit down for a little bit and enjoy the garden. I hope you're getting out and enjoying your garden as much as I do mine. Bye.